The Nitecore EDC37 is the next in iteration for the everyday carry version of flashlights that Nitecore has come out with. This is the flashlight I'm taking to the protest. This is the one I'm taking to the riot. This is the one that I would take with me for the fight. But there are some caveats behind it. Bottom line up front, if you're okay with spending around about 140 bucks on this bad boy, you like the way it looks, you like the functionality because you've already read the specs, because I haven't told you any of them yet, then go forth, make your purchase. There are links down below. I can probably get you about 10% off or so, but just check it out and tell me what you think. But if you want to know more about this flashlight, what I do and don't like about it, and maybe some alternatives, then stick around as I continue to go over this bad boy. This is the Nitecore EDC37. Nitecore has run with this naming convention for their flashlights. They've come up with a lot of them. I mean, you got the Nitecore EDC27. That was the first one that came out. That was, I guess they tested the water, see what people think about it. And they've done nothing but expand upon that. They had Nitecore EDC27 UHI, which they introduced a UHI 20 emitters on this bad boy. Then you have the Nitecore EDC25, which I don't have, the EDC29, the 23. Then they also have their circular version of flashlights when you can get those in just the MT line. They also have the EDC line for some of their circular flashlights. Nitecore is really trying to expand and try to just, even their tiny flashlights you can use for EDC. This is a brand that's trying to take a different approach when it comes to pumping out flashlights. Still a Chinese brand, but they keep a lot of stuff in stock. I haven't seen a lot of people issues with shipping, with warranty, all that good stuff. But the EDC37 now introduces 8,000 lumens in a very small package, 420 meters of throw, 44,000 candela on the beam intensity. When you get that 8,000 lumen spec, you get two of the Night Lab UHI 20 max LEDs on there. Listen, I'm reading specs off to you, but I'm just going to tell you this. I like this a lot. The one thing I don't like about it is you can't take the battery out. Okay. So that's an issue for everything in the EDC lineup. And it's a little bit weighty in the pocket. But those are kind of like the only things I have a complaint about. And finally, unlike some of its brethren, so this is the EDC29, right? The EDC29 is currently locked. It's in lockout mode 1. But let's just say, for instance, so in lockout mode, when it's in lockout mode 2, you can't do anything. I'm clicking the buttons, nothing's happening. But if I want to, I can turn on the bright mode, and while it's in that mode, put it in the lock position. And now I can't access the regular LED, but I can still access the turbo mode. And with the 29, you can do the same thing with the 27. You can do it with the 23. I don't know why they took that ability out of the 37. So for this one, when it's in unlock mode, you can go through, you can decide what you're going to select before you even turn the flashlight on. And you see I have 15 lumens, 100 lumens, 400 lumens, 1500 lumens. And then above that, there's actually an indicator of how the percentage left for that mode. So 92%. And then when you actually turn it on, you can go through, you can still select through those different modes as well. Okay. Then you have the turbo mode. Now the turbo mode does 3,000 lumens or does 8,000 lumens. I have mine set up with the customizable buttons, because you do have these two rear buttons in the back where you can customize how the turbo mode works on this flashlight. So currently I have mine set up to do 8,000 lumens with the brightness here. And when I have pressed it goes 8,000 lumens. You can see how much time is left on the countdown meter. And then that will slowly start to recharge itself once the unit begins to cool down. So you can see here, that's the power remaining. And then when I fully press on strobe warning, guys, strobe warning, when I fully press on there, it goes from there to it goes to an actual strobe mode when I press it down. But I customize mine to do that. And there are different ways to customize that button, okay? So while you have this bad boy on, you can push this button, and while it's on, you can change exactly what the turbo button is going to do when you use it. So now I have this thing, well, it needs to cool down, but you can turn it on. You can change it to when you have pressed it, it goes 3,000 lumens. And then when you full press it, it goes 8,000 lumens. You can reverse that. When you have pressed it, it goes 8,000 lumens. When you full press it, it goes 3,000 lumens. You can activate the strobe by incorporating into one of those half press or full press. They give you customizability behind that. This might be the type of flashlight if you're a bouncer, you work at a club, you do security at events, you're trying to make sure people, me and my wife also run a decor business as well. So when we're looking for any decor that we left behind, I'm looking underneath tables. I like to beam the 8,000 underneath a dark 60-inch table to make sure that none of my camera equipment or decor equipment was left behind. So you may find that useful. You may also find this useful if you're on a trail walk, if you're walking your dog, to hit somebody with 8,000 lumens or to hit them with a strobe. That can disorient them. And you know, the crazy thing is that my favorite EDC light as of late to put in my actual pocket has been the Manker EO5 Mark II. This thing has 1,300 lumens for a strobe mode, which I think is great for a pocketable EDC light. I think 150 lumens for strobe is laughable. You're not gonna really be able to use that for self-defense. This thing is great for those type of use cases. So it does have a pocket clip that's not necessarily deep carry, as in it's gonna go in your pocket, but they purposely leave a lot of this hanging out of your pocket so that it's easy to grab, whether it's on a plate carrier, your pocket, a pouch. It's a lot of flashlight to grab because they intend that you're going to be using this a lot. Also, just if you're wondering, at the very tip of this, these are ceramic coated tips for these screws. So they're designed to be glass breakers, but you can also use them for self-defense purposes. This is why this is my protest or riot flashlight. I'm not going to protest or riots, but if I find myself in one, as I get out to get my boomstick, get my knife, and I grab my flashlight, this is probably one that I would want to bring with me. In the packaging, if you're going on TSA, TSA is not going to like the glass breakers because you're going into a fuselage of an aircraft. You can swap those bolts out with regular fasteners instead of having these on here. So that's going to make life a little bit easier for you going on and off of airplanes. Or if you just don't like these, you can swap those out. They're also going to give you a lanyard in the packaging. So you get a lanyard and you get a lanyard pull. So you can run a lanyard through the meaty part of the pocket clip, which is the same for all these pocket clips. If you want to run a lanyard through these pocket clips, that's how they have these bad boys set up. And then they give you a USB-C charging cable. So, I mean, there's not a lot to this flashlight. I like the customizability of it. I can't believe it gets hot AF at 8,000 lumens. Don't get it twisted. I've seen some reviews where people are kind of like skirting around that fact. At 8,000 lumens, it's warm to the touch. Okay, so that's something to think about. Now, let's see if I can customize mine now that it's cooled down a little bit. So 8,000 lumens here. So if I go and I push this button, now I just changed it to strobe. I push it again, I just changed it to 3,000 lumens, okay? So I just changed the mode. So I initially had mine set up for a half press to do 8,000 lumens. Now, when I half press, it does 3,000 lumens, which means I can go long, but I can change that also. So if I want to, my full press is strobe. I just full press, I change to 3,000. I can full press again. I can make it go 8,000 static. So you can customize the way that this smaller button works on this flashlight. Now I'll reset mine back up because I really like the 8,000. 8,000, you're going to give me this much power, just give it to me. But that might be some customizability that you really are going to enjoy. So another thing about this flashlight, the actual beam itself is kind of like a spot flood beam mixture. You can see that in the middle there. So now we're at 400 lumens. That's 1,500 lumens. We're back down to 15 lumens, and then that's 1 lumen. So even if I go here and kind of show you here on the table, the differences in light. So that's 15 lumens. And you can kind of see, even in comparison with its brother in here, this is 15 lumens from the EDC29. This is 15 lumens from EDC37. So the emitters are very, very similar, just a little bit different light temperature. That's 100 lumens, that's 400 lumens, that's 1,200 lumens. And same thing here. So just a little bit difference, but you can see where they came from with the original 27, which is just kind of like the beam is just not as focused. It's a little bit more sloppy on the older 27. You can see where they've made a lot of improvements on it. So I can appreciate that they've come a long way. And even its smallest in the group, which is the 23, this bad boy here does have a pretty clean beam in comparison to the 37. They're very similar, but I think they've made subtle improvements on the 37, the one I'm wiggling around, And you can just tell where they continue to just get better with their lumen shield technology, their emitters that they're putting in these flashlights. I think they're doing a really good job with that. Nitecore kind of banged it out the park with this one. The pricing on it, I mean, they have this slated towards law enforcement, outdoor and camping and EDC. I don't know about like EDC as in going in your pocket. I do think it's a little bit too big for that. Law enforcement, I think it could work because they've introduced an 8,000 milliamp hour battery into this, the biggest battery on the market for a flashlight like this. Like for instance, my biggest battery that I had in any of my flashlights before this was a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that you can get in a 21700 battery. And this is a Phoenix, a big boy 36 PD36R Pro. I thought this was a very big battery at 5,000 milliamp hours. They got 8,000 milliamp hours in this bad boy. It does have the glass breaking, the fast charging. I mean, I don't know what more you can want out of this other than maybe a better price. You know, it's kind of up there, especially because you can't exchange the battery. But to be fair, lights by Manker, Olight, Surefire, Nitecore, Phoenix, Streamlight, none of those flat flashlights can have exchangeable batteries yet. There's not a flat battery on the market pack that you can just quickly swap out, because those usually inside of these things are normally ribbon cables, like thermal paste to keep the batteries cooled down. There's usually a lot going on with these batteries right now. So I don't think that they can really quickly swap them out. Last thing I'll say is just the look of it. I think it looks effing awesome. They brought over the design kind of cues from the EDC29 with the side ribbing on the side, rib for her pleasure. It just makes it easier to hold. Like they've come a very long way from the original 27, where the original 27, it just really wasn't as dark black as I wanted it to be. It was kind of matte and it just wasn't that comfortable in the hand. They've come such a long way with the 37. Nitecore sent this out to me. They're not paying me any money for this video. They didn't even know I was going to make a video on it. So I guess I come from the perspective, if I were buying this with my own money, would I do it? I would if I caught it on a sale. I think they're doing a Father's Day sale right now, but you may watch this video in the future. I think I can always get you 10% off. Check the link down below. I can get you 10% off. So you might be able to save about 14 bucks on this bad boy. If you can get this for about 109 to 119, I would say this is a good buy. The reason being is because this is the Phoenix PD36R Pro. This thing has similar specs, but nowhere near the max lumen output. But I love this flashlight. But this is a flashlight I would say 100% could be used on patrols. It can be used by a bouncer. It can be used by law enforcement. And this costs $119. Oftentimes you can get it for $109. So if it's playing in that ballpark, if they're trying to really put themselves up there for law enforcement that can carry their own flashlights, bouncers, people going camping, etc., then the price is a little bit high. If you like all the features for this, buy it full price, but try your best to get it on a little bit of a sale. But I mean, comment down below, what am I getting wrong about this bad boy right here? Is there something that I missed? Do you want to get 7 of them? So feel free to let me know with your comments down below. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.